Hello, I'm Ishmael. I've decided to join you today on the YouTube to explain my views because I feel like my views are not being expressed. Today, just because I want to affirm my beliefs, because that's always fun, it's one of the only reasons I go on the internet, I'm going to go through a bunch of questions, 10 to be exact, of questions that atheists cannot answer. Now I find this interesting. I'm an atheist by definition. I don't think that that there is a god or any of multiple gods. So the first question, do you really believe that science is the only answer to all of life's questions? No. I think how I do things is I have a question or I have a certain idea, and then I'll just jump to the first conclusion I have. That works for me. Like, for example, the other week I made some tea, but I never drank it, and I just left my mug on my desk for the week. And over time, throughout the week, it went down. Like, the level of tea that I had went down. I think the only explanation for this is that little invisible leprechauns, or possibly visible, I'm not sure, but I've never seen them, so they probably are invisible. I think they went into my room and they sipped little bits of tea from swirly straws. It's just my theory, but yeah, that was my first thought. It must be these leprechauns, and so I believe that it's the leprechauns that are doing this. That's just the most reasonable explanation for me. Question 2. Why do atheists care if people worship God? Wait, that question doesn't make sense to me. Grammatically, how would that make sense if people worship God? And it's even a lowercase g. That's so strange. If people worship God. What is God? Let me search this up. What? Some people believe that there's a god named God. Why would they do that? That's so silly. It totally copies Leprechaun, the god of leprechauns. The next question, moving on. Can nothing create something? This doesn't make sense to me either. These questions are just making me more and more confused. Because nothing... How does that have to do with atheists? Nothing. I think things just... Next. How do you know that God does not exist? Well, your God, that God, this is the God named God. Is that a parody of something? Is that ironic? It has to be ironic. I don't know that your God doesn't exist, but it makes a lot more sense for pixies to exist. Oh, I finally get the last question. It's saying that this God that they have supposedly created something. And so it's saying that things started because of that God. But then you could just go back they're just choosing a point to start then. That doesn't make any sense. It'd make a lot more sense if pixies started the universe. And why don't people think about pixies? Pixies are... They answer every question. This world is strange. And the next one is the same thing. What is the origin of life? That's the same thing as the two before. The origin of life, pixies. Pixies went... This is the story. So, a pixie, born from an eggshell, decided to spit on the soil, and from the soil up came birds. And birds were the first life. And then from the birds came werewolves, because the birds pecked into the soil, and then drew out silver, because silver was in the soil. And then from there, all of the werewolves came around. But then they were turned invisible by the vampires, which I guess were there before, because vampires are immortal, obviously. Yes, and that's why you don't find werewolves very often anymore. The vampires are everywhere. So where does our morality come from? I don't see what this has to do with atheists. Morality just comes from a pamphlet. Yeah, I saw a pamphlet that said, this pamphlet is right, or something like that. I don't remember exactly what the words were, but it was pretty much, this pamphlet is right. And so since it said that, the pamphlet has to be right. And then it said a bunch of things that seemed pretty applicable to my life, and I could agree with most of them. Some of them were strange, like no eating children. I don't know why we'd be doing that in the first place. That doesn't seem very practical, but I suppose that's morality. Some of them were I could really relate to, like when you turn into a turtle after your death. Don't eat other turtles. I felt like that was good, because turtle cannibalism is a real problem we have nowadays. But nonetheless, some of them are things that you can't really change, I suppose. Like, don't have blonde hair, but besides those ones, I think it said that it's right. The pamphlet said that this pamphlet is right, so that's a good source of morality, I think. Just choosing a book, or choosing a pamphlet, or choosing some sort of text that says that it's right, has to be right then, and going from there, that's a pretty good source of morality, I think. If you had evidence of God, would you become a Christian? That doesn't make sense. If evolution is real, why are there no transitional forms in the present? I don't think evolution is real. It's ridiculous. Why would anyone believe that evolution is real? There aren't beneficial mutations, and like, genes don't exist. That's just all made up. DNA, that's just made up by the scientists to suppress all of the actual knowledge of, like, pixies and werewolves and dragons. The dragons, they're everywhere, but and the dragons are the ones that make everything happen. It's not some weird process. Like, I think it's evil, where they say, oh yeah, see, they're cells or something in us, and beneath the cells, within their nuclei, or whatever scientific sci-fi name they want to add to it, within those cells, that's where all the DNA, like computers storing code, that's where that all is. It's like, oh yeah, but you can't see it with your eyes. So I don't know, it's ridiculous. I find it utterly silly that they think we believe that. Yeah, I don't believe in evolution, but I am an atheist, so I don't know. These questions are just directed so weirdly. Do you live according to what you believe, or do you live according to what you lack in belief, is what I think they're saying. I think I live according to what I believe. From the moment I was a youngster, I was walking on the beach with my grandfather, and I saw the sea in front of me, and I was like, this is nice. Ever since then, I've lived based on that belief that was nice. That was a nice moment. Takes me back. If God exists, will you not lose your soul when you die? I don't have a soul. That doesn't make sense. Oh, if God exists. I'm confused. They expect us to know the theology of their religion. That doesn't make any sense. Is this a popular religion? Is this something I should know about? I think souls are I don't have a soul. Why would I have a soul? I'm not an elf. Alright, so that's the end of this video. Ishmael is heading out now, and thank you for watching this YouTube. Please share this video, because we need more people to hear my point of view, and people like me, and I want to find other people like me, because I feel alone. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and is that what they say? Follow and retweet and commentate. Bye.